This morning I'm going to make some vegan cinnamon rolls. We're going to start with 3/4 cups of warm water. Put that in there. And then we're going to add in 1/4 cup of aquafaba, which is, if you don't know what that is the liquid that's inside a can of chickpeas, or if you're going to soak and cook your own, that's the liquid that you get off of that. And then we're going to add in a tablespoon of sugar. I'm going to use coconut sugar, but you can use regular sugar if you like. And then we're going to add in a tablespoon of maple syrup. And then you will add in 2.5 teaspoons of active yeast. I do believe, I buy it in a jar, but I do believe that is the equivalent of what is in one packet if you buy the packets. And we just want to mix this all up so that the yeast will start to activate. Get everything all mixed together. And then we're just going to let it sit for a couple minutes. We've let this sit for a couple minutes now, and you can see it's starting to get a little foamy in there. That's the yeast starting to work. So to this, we're going to add in a teaspoon of nutritional yeast, and then 2 tablespoons of oil. I'm just using vegetable oil. And we're going to mix that up. And then you want to add in about 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I'm just going to shake some in. And mix it up. And now we'll start adding in our flour. It's going to take probably 2 to 2.5 cups. But we're going to slowly add it as we mix it. And we're going to start in the bowl here, and then after we get going, it will end up on the counter. I'm going to go ahead and put a cup in to start with. And then I'm just going to keep slowly adding in. Make sure you scrape the sides, get everything. Now it's starting to get more dough-like. I'm going to go ahead and transfer this to the counter now. Put a little bit of flour down. Get this other stuff out of the way. I'm going to just continue to add this in until it's not so wet feeling. It's sticking to my finger still, so you know it's too much liquid in there still. Just kind of want to keep kneading it and moving it around. And you're probably going to need it 4 or 5 minutes. Make sure it's all worked through. In the meantime, you should have your oven set at 350 to preheat it. Okay, I've kneaded that for about 5 minutes. I did use about 2.5 cups total when I was working on that. So I'm just going to kind of sprinkle flour on the countertop here, and we're going to start rolling this out. Try to make it more of a oblong shape, or more rectangle than circle. And there really isn't a set height that you want on this or anything, because it's going to get rolled up. I just want it to be rolled or pretty even on the edges, but it doesn't have to be perfect. All right, now that I have this rolled out, we are going to use some vegan butter. I've melted it to make it a little bit easier. And I'm just going to kind of spread this on here. If you have a pastry brush or something, you can use that. It'd be a little bit easier. I just don't have one with me. And this is about 2 tablespoons here. It's kind of hard to tell. If you don't have vegan butter, you can use oil. I like the buttery flavor best. And if you like it extra buttery, just add more butter then. Next, we're going to put on some, I'm going to use brown sugar, but you can use regular sugar, coconut sugar, anything that you like. I like how brown sugar, how it bakes up in here. I'm going to guess that it's probably going to be close to 1/2 cup, but we're just going to go ahead and sprinkle this on here. And once I get it on, I'm just going to kind of spread it. Stand up a little more. Kind of equally spread. And next, I'm gonna wash my hands real quick here, rinse them off. I'm gonna add in some cinnamon. Just gonna sprinkle some on here. It's probably gonna be a few teaspoons. If you like nutmeg or anything like that, you can add that in as well. At this point too, if you don't want just regular cinnamon rolls, you could add in some apples. Give a little bit of different. And then I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of salt on here. Nothing too crazy. It comes out. And then we're just going to go ahead and we're going to start to roll it up. Now that it's all rolled, I usually just cut the ends off a little bit. I'm using a serrated knife. There's different things you can use. If you have a pizza cutter, you can use that. String or floss can cut right down into it. And then it just depends on how thick you want these. I usually cut in the center to start with. Maybe about an inch thick is how I do mine. And that's the only difference in it is going to be your baking time, so you'll just have to keep an eye on it. Now that those are all cut, I have an 8x8 pan here with parchment paper. It's just going to be easier for cleanup. And we're just going to stick them up on end in here. If you don't have an 8x8 pan, you can just use a cookie sheet. It just tends to, I like how these cook up. I like the softness that it gets being how next to each other they are. This one's a little taller, it was on the end. I guess I can spread these out a little bit more. We're going to stick these on the oven, just on top to get the heat from it, and they're going to rise. I do want to grab a towel, and I'll just put a towel over the top. And then they're just going to sit for about 15 minutes with the heat coming from the oven to help it raise. Okay, now they've been sitting. You can see that they've almost doubled in size. So we're just going to go ahead and put this in the oven. We're going to say about 20 to 25 minutes. And again, it just really depends on how big you cut them. So I'm going to go ahead and add these in. And I'm going to go ahead and set it for 20 minutes and I'll check it from there. Okay, these ended up, I had them in almost 25 minutes. They're nice and browned up. So we're just going to bring them on over here and let them sit and cool for a few minutes. While that is cooling, we're going to go ahead and mix up the icing. I have a cup of powdered sugar here. I'm going to add in about a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. And then a couple tablespoons of unsweetened almond milk I have here. You can use any kind of non-dairy milk. And then I'm going to sprinkle in just a little bit of salt. And then I'm just going to go ahead and mix this up. Now, if you want a different kind of flavor, if you like an orange type of flavor on there, you can use a little bit of orange zest in here and some orange juice, or same with lemon. I just want to go ahead and mix this all up. Very simple icing. And we're going to wait another minute or two to let that cool just a little bit over there, and then we can go ahead and pour this on top. All right, we're just going to go ahead and pour the icing over the top. Kind of drizzle it back and forth. Put as much or as little as you want on it.